All right, well, it's about to be 7 o'clock, and I just woke up around 6 to be able to capture the sunrise, and it was so, so beautiful. So I was laying down in the bed, and for whatever reason, I just like opened my eyes, and then where we're facing, we're like directly staring at the pond. So I look outside, and I just see beautiful colors in the sky, and I'm like, oh snap, it's like 6:05 or whatever. So I jump out of bed, and the first thing I do is just throw my sandals on, get my drone, and I launch it in the air. And man, that's one of the things that I love about the hill country is the sunrise and the sunsets are always, always beautiful because it's such a wide, beautiful open sky. Hence why it's called Sky Texas, right? But that's one thing I've always tried to do since moving to Austin is waking up early for the sake of appreciating the sunrise. And I remember when I would go downtown during the pandemic to ride my one wheel, it was this act of appreciation I felt like I enjoyed doing because, you know, with everything that was going on, things seemed like you never knew what was going to happen. And so for me, waking up early to see the sunrise, to appreciate the sunrise, was something that allowed me to structure my day different, to be thankful, to say, hey man, like this, look how beautiful this is. Look at the chance that you're getting right now to see the sunrise. And especially after I had my accident, being able to be appreciative of the life that is around you, not just, the work and everything you have to do, but the things that are just like given to you, the things that are an offering to you, right? Like sunrises. To me, you don't need to do anything to see a sunrise, and they're always beautiful. And I feel like we so often, and I know I did when I was like just working nonstop and didn't take any time to what I would say is stop and smell the roses. Um, I wouldn't take any time to appreciate it. I wouldn't take any time to be like, wow, look at that. And I remember when I would work at Mozart's, one of the things that I enjoyed doing was setting my GoPro up, facing the lake and getting like time lapses of the sunrise. Because when we would get to the coffee shop, it'd just be pitch black, right? Because it was dark. And little by little, I've learned to appreciate the little things in life. As life has gone on, as things have gotten easier and as things have gotten harder, I've learned to stop and appreciate the things in life that I have. Because at the end of the day, what is the point of working hard? What's the point of, trying to make money and trying to, carve out time and trying to do all these things. And then when you have the thing, you don't enjoy it, right? Like, what's the point of working hard to buy a really expensive car? And then when you get that car, you're like, oh, I don't want to drive it, or you don't appreciate driving it, or you lose the appreciation of driving it, right? We all get there where you buy a new laptop, new camera, new iPhone, new whatever it is, new home, new car, spouse, friends, whatever it is, right? You get the thing you're chasing, and then you don't appreciate it or you don't feel satisfied with it because at times the progress or the process of attaining the thing is more enjoyable than the attaining of the thing. And for me, I try to enjoy both. I'm a hard worker. I give every day all that I have, right? But at the same time, I need to also not let the day get past me, right? Like hold my kids, kiss my wife, drink some whiskey, have some laughs, act silly, because you never know what's going to happen, right? And when I had my accident, that was one of those wake up calls that reminded me that. That was one of those things that said, hey, you're not invincible. Um, Death can happen at any moment, right? And so when that happened, being able to add more joy in my life was something that I knew I needed to do. Not like I was lacking joy, but joy in the little things that I would get frustrated with, right? Like, especially having kids. Sometimes, you're trying to work from home and they don't let you. And rather than getting frustrated or rather than getting angry, learning. not that I'm perfect, but learning that even those small interruptions are a blessing. Even those little things that may annoy you in everyday life are a blessing because you're alive to be annoyed. You're alive to get angry. Like if you weren't alive, you wouldn't have emotion. If you weren't alive, you wouldn't have these moments where things will rile you up, right? And so rather than looking at those things as like, the kids are being annoying, or the client is being this, or it's rainy and complaining, it's like just looking at the day and saying like, man, I get to appreciate the rain. I get to have clients. I get to have kids. All these things are things that are given to us that we need to begin to appreciate. So as the months have gone by, and it's been about over a year now since my accident has happened, one of the main lessons that I've tried to take away is just like, don't lose sight of the little things in life. Because again, the little things in life are the things that compile to make you a better person, to make you a better father, mother, individual, a better artist, business owner, entrepreneur. Um, and if you're new, wondering what this is, in the next, 36 days, 37 days, I will be turning 40 years old. And so I just want to capture what life was like in my 30s. And in my 30s, I would say this is what it was. It was a whole lot of work. It was a whole lot of traveling. It was a whole lot of, unknowable situations, right? Like, I think this is what your 30s is about. Almost a sense of like self discovery, a sense of finding your identity. Because in your 20s, you're just trying stuff, right? You're just exploring life. You're just like, hey, I'm done with school. Like, let me try all these things. But in your 30s, you begin to take the knowledge and experiences that you had in your 20s, and you begin to shape and develop them a little bit more and get a little bit more focused on the things that you want to do, the things you want to invest in, the people you want to invest in, the career you want to be in. I mean, at least for me, and the difficult thing for me was that I feel like I wasted my 20s. I feel like my 20s were, again, I say that because I judge my life pretty hard. I wish I would have done more in my 20s, but I think that's why I went so hard in my 30s. I think that's why my 30s were something where it was like, not sleeping that much, but so focused on just getting out of the rut that I was in, whether it was a financial rut, whether it was a personal rut, fitness rut, whatever it was. I felt like I needed to prove myself in my 30s that I can do better and be better than I thought I was. And so, again, the whole documenting my last 40 days in my 30s, I just want to look back at like, what tenacity was there. Again, I feel like as I enter my 40s and I'm more appreciative of being a father and a husband and a business owner and all this kind of stuff, I feel like what I want to do in my 40s is carve out more time for friends and family and invest in the things that really do matter in life, not just the trips and the businesses and all that kind of stuff, but like invest in the things that are going to last. Invest in the people who will be with you in your 60s, 70s, and 80s. Um, but I know that I can't do that if I don't have a solid foundation and structure to our business and the people that we hire and the clients that we bring on and all that kind of stuff. And so I know that my 30s were probably the most aggressive me. I think the 30s was like me on Goggins mode all the time, and nobody got to see it. And I didn't really, I have a bunch of I have a bunch of footage of me being crazy and not sleeping and doing these things, and maybe I'll show you guys at another time. But I think my 30s were just like me on Goggins mode all the time, having my foot on the gas and not giving myself any time to really um, get the foot off the pedal. The accident helped me do that a little bit more. My wife and my kids helped me do that a little bit more. And like I said, as I grow and have these friendships and have, career and business owners, and I get to meet all these people, it always comes back to enjoy your kids, enjoy your family. Time flies. And so I want to do a good job of stewarding the time that I have on earth, but also the gifts that have been given to me while I'm on earth, right? So if I'm going to be a father, I want to be a father that does really good by his kids and invests as much as he can in his kids. If I'm going to be a husband, I want to be a really good husband at loving my wife. I want to be a really good husband of showing her how much I appreciate everything she does for me. If I'm to be a business owner, I want to be the type of business owner that shows his clients um, what it looks like to be a good worker, to be a good hire. You know, again, being in the entrepreneur space, especially as a videographer and photographer, I hear so many horror stories from my clients of the people they've hired in the past and the way they've been screwed over in the past by other businesses and companies. And I feel like it's my job to restore their hope in creatives, right? Like we're not all just flaky. We're not all just like, oh yeah, you know, when inspiration strikes or whatever. Like I think there's a lot of tactical things in being a creative and being a videographer. And so being able to build relationships that encourage people, help people, bring people happiness and joy is what I want to do. You know, I want to be a good steward of the time that I have here on earth because it's going to be short. And I think that's one thing that I want to remember in going into my 40s. But I think that's also a great thing to remind people who are looking to be entrepreneurs, business owners, and have a career that so often will try to take your time away from you. You know, I was listening to this interview with Harmozy, and Harmozy was talking about how he was doing something, and this guy was like, "Hey, you know, while you're here, let's do a podcast. You know, it'll take 5 minutes. Like, I'll get my camera right now." And Harmozy pulls out his calendar, and he's like, "Look, I don't have anything on my calendar, and I want to keep it that way." And then the guy like left because he was offended. And Harmozy's friend was like, "Dude, that's so badass. It's like, look at all this time I got, and you're not gonna get any of it." And Harmozy was like, "Well, that's not the way I meant it, but fine." But it's that just because you have open slots in your schedule, just because you have free time, it doesn't mean that your clients or your work or your business needs that time from you. You need to look at the time you have and say, what other things can have that time? Again, especially if you're married and you have kids or you know you have a tight-knit friend group or whatever it is, it's like, yes, I believe in that, you know, what I call, you know, the wilderness wanderings. You know, I think Chris and Harmozy call it the lonely chapter. But you need to have moments where you isolate yourself from everyone. And you need to have moments where, despite what people tell you, like you don't listen and you go all in. And maybe that's an episode for another time. But you also need to have moments where you reward the people who have believed in you, where you give gifts to the people who saw the potential in you. And so many times the people that do that are your friends, or your spouses, or you know if you're dating somebody, and your family. And so rather than just investing all of your time into work, you also should be investing that time in the people that believed in you and the people that encouraged you and the people that kept rooting for you because you're going to need them throughout your life. And if you choose to not invest that time in them, if you choose not to show them where you are on your path, then they may not be there when you need them. And I don't even mean in a selfish way. I just mean like, you know, I think about my parents, right? It's like I work harder so that we can have time to spend with them, right? We're going to be in Brownsville for a week on Monday. I never had that time before, right? When I was working two jobs and when I was doing all the things that I was doing, I didn't have time to visit my parents in Brownsville. And I always wanted to. And now we have the time and we have the finances to be able to take a week off and go and spend time with my parents, have them see the kids, and we can have fun. And it's because they deserve that. You know, they took a chance on me moving from Brownsville to Austin. They believed in me. They told me that I can do it. And so because they believed in me, I want to reward them with a happy family on family visits. I want to reward them with more than just a day of seeing them, right? And so that's what I mean. It's like the fuel that we need is often not anger or regret and resentment. That's good fuel for a while. But I think better fuel is love, it's joy and happiness. It's being able to spend time with your friends and your family. Like that's the fuel that's going to keep you going in your business for the next 100 years, right? Anger, resentment, competition, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't last long. I think that's just momentary fuel. That's childish fuel. Like it'll get you out of the orbit, but it's not going to keep you going, right? And so being able to wake up this morning and capture the sunrise and just be in awe of the beauty of a sunrise took me back to riding my one wheel in downtown Austin during the pandemic and being thankful for another day. And I don't think I've, again, since my accident, I don't know if I've ever not been thankful for another day. I think that smacked something in me that has made me appreciate the good days and the bad days. It's helped me appreciate the frustrating days and the easy days. And so going into my 40s, I don't want to be somebody who forgets that. I want to be somebody who double down on that. That says I want to pursue these moments and these days. I don't want them to pursue me. I want to pursue them, right? I want to look for the moments of happiness with my kids. I want to spend moments with my wife that we will forever remember. I want to make memories with my parents and my grandparents, or my grandma, my one grandparent, that my kids will remember, because I'm only here for a few years, man. And my business, you look at so many businesses that fail, or you read so many stories that kids take over the business and it fails, or they don't want to be in it and so they sell it or whatever it is. And so it's also like I want to make sure that the time I spent with my children either solidifies their career in photography and videography if they want to do that, right? I see my son follow me around with his camera and wanting to film and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, man, maybe I became a photographer and videographer for my son, right? Like maybe this is a gift from God to me for him, right? Maybe I was never meant to be a photographer. Maybe photography is meant for them and not for me. But it's given to me to teach them, and it's given to me to show them how to steward it well. And so don't ever think that your business is your own either. You never know who it's for. It could be for you to make a living and all that, but it could also be for other people to enjoy, to appreciate, to build their business and their careers off of, I think about that with my clients, right? With the clients I work with. If it wasn't for me having my business, who else would they have worked with who would invest the time and effort to make sure that their business is successful online, and on social media, right? Like you have to remember that just because it's your business doesn't mean it's your business. You're in the business of customer service. So serve the customer and they will serve you well as well. Um, so yeah, don't forget to stop and smell the roses. Don't forget to wake up and watch the sunrise for the sake of appreciation. Don't forget to kiss your wife, hug your kids, smile, laugh, because that's what life is about. I hope I don't lose that. I hope I gain more of that in my 40s. But I think the family's gonna be waking up now. I gotta unload some footage and get things ready for today. We got a few events today that should be really cool. Today is the 4th of July, so happy 4th of July to everybody in America. And yeah, I'm gonna get ready for the day. Try to get my steps in. Until tomorrow, guys. Peace out.